So if you're a wedding photographer, you no doubt want a second to come along to a wedding and actually help you out at weddings. They're fantastic. They help grab your bags, move things around, grab lenses when you need them, maybe go shoot some group shots, etc, etc. Really, really useful at weddings, and you probably get a number of people ask you, can I come along to a wedding and help? This is brilliant. I encourage this. I get quite a lot of people actually ask me as well. So the thing is, today I'm going to explain to you why I don't pay them. So let's just get something out of the way first of all. There's nothing wrong with actually paying your seconds to come along to a wedding and actually help you. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is a reasons why I don't. And that's what I really want to talk about today, because it is slightly controversial. I know somebody's coming along to your wedding and you're not paying them. And there is a good reason for this. I suppose one of the main reasons why I don't actually pay my seconds is because when somebody comes along to a wedding with me and actually helps, they typically have their own camera gear with them and they're actually shooting away, obviously getting shots that I asked them to get. But I also say to them, look, if there's a shot you want to take, go ahead and take it. And what happens, they build up their own portfolio because I actually let them keep their own RAW files. Yes, I take copies of these images, but they are actually allowed to keep them, they're allowed to edit them, they're allowed to use them for their own marketing purposes. The only thing I don't allow people to do, and it's use them on social media, things like Facebook, Instagram, you get the idea. That's the only point I don't allow them to use the images. And obviously they're not allowed to contact the bride and groom because that bride and groom is a contact of mine, not theirs. So again, they can use their images for their own website, their own marketing materials, flyers and all that kind of stuff, banners, etc, etc. This is literally one of the reasons why I don't pay them, because they are getting something out of this. Reason number two is they are learning on the job. They are actually coming along to a wedding with me because they want to experience what it's like to be a wedding photographer. You know, if I go along to a workshop and want to learn off somebody, I typically would have to pay somebody for this, you know, for the honour of them teaching me how to, I don't know, take first dance shots or group shots, etc. I have to pay that person. I'm not asking people to pay me to learn. People come along to weddings and help me, they're allowed to take their own pictures, and I just take copies of these because there's often some gems in there that, you know, I think are going to be fantastic for my bride and groom. It could be just a random moment that they've caught, you know, when I'm looking one way, they're looking the other way at some guests and get a fantastic moment. Obviously, I want to give those shots to my bride and grooms because ultimately I'm there to do a job for my bride and grooms. Again, people that come along to second for me at weddings, they are learning on the job. They're typically people that haven't got any experience shooting weddings. And how do you get experience shooting weddings? Well, you need to second somebody. And there is actually photographers out there I've seen that actually charge you for this. You know, I'm not going to charge somebody for this. I'm basically just saying, come along, learn the job, learn it correctly. You know, so it's a win-win situation. I get some extra images and help, you know, maybe setting lights up, and anybody that has seconds from me actually gets to use their own images and they actually learn the job correctly, which I think is invaluable really for them. Number three, I wasn't even intending to do bullet points, but number three anyway. When my seconds are actually at a point when they can actually go out and start shooting for themselves, so, and this is always a part of the agreement as well that I have with people, that, you know, they will at some point obviously go off and start doing their own weddings. It's part of life, you know, it's going to happen. They want to learn the job, they want to basically become their own boss. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. So when people are at a point to actually go off and start doing weddings for themselves, I have no issue with this. You know, yes, they're using images that they took from weddings that I've booked, but it's still their images that they're getting the bookings from. It's up to them how they basically portray themselves, are they a good service, etc, etc. I'm actually happy to help them through this process because, again, just shooting a wedding isn't like being behind the scenes and doing all the emails and keeping your books up to date, your accounts, all that. It's a very different world, and if you only got experience in this part, i.e. shooting as a second, you don't know what's really going on over here with all the behind the scenes stuff. So I'm happy to help my seconds, and I often have messages and they're like, oh Andy, what do you think to this, or how do I deal with this, etc. And I'm happy to help these people. You know, there's a number of actually seconds I've helped and now they're going off and doing their own full-time wedding services, you know, shooting weddings all the time. So I think that's brilliant. That's fantastic. That's where I want them to be. I'd rather train somebody up and have them do the job correctly, because it puts value back into our business. You know, instead of like an Uncle Bob that comes along, no idea what he's doing, grabs a camera from Jessup's or your local camera shop, and they're shooting bad pictures for couples, they're giving them bad service, etc, etc, and it undermines the entire industry. I'd rather do it the correct way and get people out there knowing what they're doing. It's in my benefit as well, and it'll be in your benefit too. Now, I know some people will not agree with me, but please believe me when I say I'm not being hypocritical here. I've had some of my seconds, when they've gone off and they've got their own bookings, and they've turned around to me and said, "Andy, do you mind coming along and helping me?" And I've said, "Sure." And I've turned up and I've done exactly the same for them. I haven't been paid. I've kept my own images and I've handed them copies of them as well. So I'm not being hypocritical. I have done the same for my seconds. I think that's only fair. You know, they're helping me out at weddings. The least I can do is help them out, and I'm happy to do this. It's part of the job. Again, I'd rather them get good quality product to hand over to the bride and groom, because it helps build up the industry again. There's too many people out there that are shot weddings not knowing what they're doing. Anyways, do you actually agree with me not paying seconds for actually being there at weddings to help me? Or do you prefer to just outright pay them? It's completely up to you. You know, you might prefer one over the other. Just tell me what you prefer. This is the way I work, and I do make people very aware of this before they even come along to weddings for me. But again, we all work differently, and there's nothing wrong with that. Enough of that rubbish. Don't forget, check out some of my other videos, and hopefully like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you next time.